Imagine a warship, massive, armored, a floating fortress. For centuries these ships ruled the seas, symbols of national power. But then, everything changed. A new weapon appeared, the guided anti-ship missile. Small, fast, and deadly, it could be launched from a boat, a plane, or the shore, striking targets over the horizon. Suddenly, the age of the giant warship was over. The missile was a revolution, as significant as the cannon or the aircraft carrier. No longer did the biggest guns or thickest armor guarantee victory. Now a tiny patrol boat with a few missiles could threaten a mighty destroyer. Power shifted from size to technology, speed, and precision. The world's navies would never be the same. This shift forced nations to rethink defense, strategy, and ship design. Even small countries could now challenge superpowers at sea. The missile was more than a weapon. It reshaped global politics and military thinking. Every modern warship is now built with the missile threat in mind. Naval commanders live with the constant risk of sudden long-range attack. Ships bristle with electronics and defenses, all to counter this single threat. The missile forced navies to become smarter, faster, and more advanced. It's a story of adaptation, a race between offense and defense. In warfare, nothing stays the same for long. The next great weapon is always just over the horizon. The anti-ship missile changed everything. This is how it happened. Why does the guided missile matter so much? Because it redefined naval power. For centuries, sea power meant battleships, expensive, slow to build, and reserved for the richest nations. The guided missile shattered this reality, becoming the great equalizer. Suddenly, a small, cheap boat could sink a destroyer. This was asymmetric warfare technology, allowing the weak to threaten the strong. The Soviets embraced this, building fleets of missile-armed subs and boats to counter American carriers. The U.S. spent billions on missile defenses in response. Missiles became tools of diplomacy and tension, shifting regional balances and forcing caution. Their mere presence can alter global trade and security. Even the most powerful warship is now vulnerable. The missile commands respect and inspires fear. Without a shot fired, it changed the world's oceans forever. To see how revolutionary the missile was, look at what came before. Naval battles were once brutal, close-range cannon duels, iron men on wooden ships. The 20th century brought the battleship steel giants like HMS Dreadnought, sparking an arms race. Battles became long-range gunnery duels. Then came the aircraft carrier, planes striking from hundreds of miles away, making battleships obsolete. The future of naval combat was long-range strikes, but aircraft had limits. They needed carriers, and could be shot down. Engineers wondered, what if you could build a weapon with the range of a plane, but harder to stop? A flying torpedo that could guide itself to its target. This question led to the guided missile. The age of big guns and dive bombers was ending. The missile era was about to begin. The modern anti-ship missile story began in World War II. German scientists created the Fritz X, a radio-controlled bomb that sank the Italian battleship Roma, a glimpse of the future. After the war, the US and Soviet Union raced to develop missile technology. In 1955, the US Navy tested the Terrier missile, proving rockets could hit moving targets at sea. The missile age had begun. The world's first shocking demonstration came in 1967. Egyptian patrol boats fired Styx missiles, sinking the Israeli destroyer INS Eilat. A small cheap boat destroyed a major warship from over the horizon. The lesson was clear: missiles could decide wars. In 1982, the Falklands War drove the point home. An Argentine jet fired a French Exocet missile at HMS Sheffield, a modern British destroyer. The missile struck, starting a fire that doomed the ship. Even advanced navies were vulnerable. The Exocet became infamous overnight. The anti-ship missile was now a decisive weapon. Navies worldwide scrambled to adapt. The missile age was in full swing. Nothing at sea would ever be the same. The sinking of INS Eilat in 1967 was a turning point. The destroyer on patrol off Egypt felt secure, until two small Egyptian missile boats fired Soviet-made Styx missiles. The Eilat's crew had no warning. The first missile struck, causing chaos and fire. Minutes later, a second missile hit the engine room, sealing the ship's fate. Survivors abandoned ship as a third missile struck the wreck. 47 sailors died and nearly 100 were wounded. The world's navies were stunned. A cheap missile could destroy a multi-million-dollar warship. The age of the gun was over. From that day, every naval designer faced a new question. How do you stop the missile? The race between offense and defense had begun. The Ilot's loss forced a global rethink of naval strategy. No ship was safe from a missile attack. The balance of power at sea had shifted forever. The missile was now the ultimate threat. Navies had to adapt, or risk extinction. The missile's warning shot echoed around the world. 15 years after Ilot, the missile's power struck again in the Falklands War. HMS Sheffield, a modern British destroyer, was hit by an Argentine Exocet missile. The missile, flying low, evaded detection and slammed into the ship. The impact ignited rocket fuel, starting a fire that spread rapidly. Toxic smoke and intense heat overwhelmed the crew. 20 sailors died. The ship was lost. The attack proved even advanced warships were vulnerable. The Exocet's fire-and-forget technology changed naval combat. Lightweight materials like aluminum, meant to save weight, became deadly fire hazards. The loss shocked Britain and forced new tactics. Carriers were kept far from danger. The missile's shadow hung over the rest of the war. The lesson: no ship is invincible. Behind every missile are the engineers and sailors who shaped its story. Early guidance systems were simple. Pilots sometimes steered missiles by joystick, just like the German Fritz X. The famous Exocet's name means flying fish, a nod to its sea-skimming, elusive nature. Engineers mimicked nature to make missiles hard to detect and intercept. For sailors, the missile brought constant anxiety. Attacks could come anytime, from anywhere, with seconds of warning. The threat was invisible and ever-present, unlike the old days of visible enemies. After the Sheffield, navies rushed to develop defenses like the Phalanx CIWS, a radar-guided machine gun firing thousands of rounds per minute. Nicknamed R2D2, it became a last line of defense against missiles. The missile forced innovation at every level. Engineers and sailors worked together to survive in this new world. The human response to the missile threat was relentless adaptation. Technology and courage now go hand in hand at sea. The race between offense and defense never ends. The anti-ship missile didn't just change battles, it changed ships themselves. After 1967 and 1982, warships were redesigned for stealth, with angular shapes and hidden equipment to evade radar. Naval strategy shifted from big gun fleets to layered defense fighters, missile-armed escorts, and close-in weapon systems. The goal: detect and destroy missiles before they strike. The missile's legacy is also political, empowering smaller nations and making choke points like the Strait of Hormuz flashpoints of tension. Even nations without carriers can project power with missiles. The threat of closing vital waterways gives countries leverage and shapes global politics. The missile is a tool for challenging superpowers. Its story is one of innovation overturning centuries of tradition. The endless race between missile and defense defines modern naval history. Power is never permanent. Vulnerability comes from unexpected places. The guided missile didn't just sink ships, it sank an entire era. It forced the world to see the oceans and power in a new light.